and welcome to the to this episode of Progressive Political Perspectives. My name is James Curtis Carey, and I'll tell you a little bit about my background. I delivered mail for the U.S. Postal Service in Muncie, in Indiana, in Marion, Indiana, for about 14 years, and then Muncie, Indiana, for 17 years, before moving to Fort Wayne in 2014. I also served in the regular United States Army, the Army Reserve and the Army National Guard from about 1976 to 2000. And at this time, I will read the mission statement for this program. Progressive Political Perspectives creates an oasis in a political desert that actually touches people's lives. The show discusses issues that are ripe for conversation and make a difference. We strive to unite our base, traditional progressive voters, and build an audience. We want to reach the disaffected, the young, females, and those who feel they have no voice. In short, we seek to expand the core. And at this time, I'd like to introduce our guest. To my right, Howard Traxmor.
Thank you, Curtis. I have a background in sociology, and I helped start a work release program with Sheriff Randy Williamson in Monroe County, Indiana, down in Bloomington. And it's an alternative to jail, and the big jail proposal as presented is a cruel, predatory, and racist project that needs to be stopped.
Yes, today we're focusing on the current political football, the real imbroglio about the Allen County Jail and what to do, whether to build a new one, and more importantly, to set up effective drug abuse treatment and help for inmates with mental illnesses.
It should be noted that the Big Jail Project is an offshoot that has recycled several times over in past decades, and each time it seems that the jail capacity is immediately reached at the top levels. Apparently, this is the predatory aspect of our system, where we can fill jails up as fast as the criminal justice system allows. And indeed, it has become somewhat of a business. And the current Allen County Jail is making about $1.4 million each year off of housing prisoners from other areas. So the main problem, overcrowding and poor services to the inmates, are all related to the common problem of a criminal justice system that is cruel, predatory, and racist.
And at this time, I'd like to reference, we have a number of this issue, by the way, has been covered in the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette extensively in the past 6 weeks or so. I'm going to reference an article written by Krister Watson from the October 4th, 2022 newspaper, who says, as Howard pointed out, he goes into some details about there are 48 people who've been in the jail for longer than a year. There are some 450 people who are awaiting trial. And, at least for a while, I don't know if this is still true, but there were some 160 people being held for other agencies, which is the source of the revenue, the additional revenue that Howard mentioned. And so what's occurred is a jail that is overcrowded, not having help, or rather the services that inmates are supposed to have, such as exercise, and some are living in temporary facilities, or at least they have to sleep on cots. Now, another factor is that there are groups of people who have committed in the jail, who are inmates who are have been charged with misdemeanors, such as drug possession, traffic-related or probation-related crimes, and they could feasibly be moved through the jail system significantly faster, is what Professor Watson says.
And my suggestion is that alternative sites similar to a halfway house would substantially cover the needs of low-level offenders and not needing a jail at all. High-level security jail will cost over $300 million and not provide the services that are needed. Our society has a lack of housing. It has a lack of public transportation. It has a lack of comprehensive public services that provide everyone with a fair part of society and a share of the economy. So a big jail basically puts the money in a large high security building instead of putting it into helping people. And one of the groups that I am a member of, Help Not Handcuffs, is endorsing a broad range of services that will help people improve in their life and avoid the pitfalls that led to their incarceration.
So, Howard already mentioned the Help Not Handcuffs group. In the past couple weeks, really longer, I'm reading from an article in the paper from Sunday, October 2nd, and it says that dozens of advocates from Fort Wayne Southeast Side have asked the county commissioners to build the jail anywhere else. The issue is that there's a county-owned property near Paulding and South Adams Roads that is currently a shooting range that has been proposed as the number one site, since the county would not need to purchase the land. However, there are 3 East Allen County schools near there, and Paulette Nellums, who is running for county council, the Southeast seat, District Number 1, says that this is unnecessary or a bad idea, because these students will see this concrete and block facility with barbed wire and walls, and it will lead to a deleterious effect on their performances as students. Another issue about this whole affair is that the current jail has been in operation since 1981, and a number of readers of the Journal Gazette have written to the editor and demanded accountability for the deteriorating condition of the jail. The current jail is, I'm reading from a letter from Mr. Michael Knoll from the Tuesday, October 11th Journal Gazette. He says that the current jail has been allowed to deteriorate to the current state of disrepair. Isn't there a person who has a title of a building maintenance supervisor? He thinks that possibly the sheriff or the commissioners, the county commissioners, have totally dropped the ball. So the taxpayers and the electorate is faced with paying possibly as much as $350 million for a new jail, a large high security facility, as Howard pointed out. But there may be a solution in addressing the overcrowding problems by other means.
So in 2005, Nelson Peters, Allen County Commissioner, was elected, and just 3 years after that, in 2008, the Allen County Commissioners and the Allen County purchased the land around the Allen, or the Adams Center landfill. The land around the Adams Center landfill is a large section of land, and I believe that at that time they were thinking that this could be a future location for the sheriff's facilities, including the jail. But that is not what is being stated in their drive for placing the jail there. The Commissioner Peters has stated publicly that all they can do is build a jail. Well, this is just not true. They can build facilities that are more appropriate. Building a facility that is geared to the social needs of low-level offenders would remove all the overcrowding now and well into the future, so that there would not be the need for developing a big jail.
The issue is so bad, or the conditions are so bad for the inmates at the jail that a particular inmate, I don't have his name in front of me, contacted the American Civil Liberties Union and asked for legal help to file a civil action lawsuit against the sheriff, Mr. Gladio, the county commissioners, and I think the county government in general. And that suit is currently underway in federal court. There have been a couple hearings already, and the commissioners have been, and the county government in general, but the commissioners in particular, have been required to come up with some solutions to the problem, and there'll be another hearing on December 16th. And I'm going to read to you a little bit from a letter to the editor of the Journal-Gazette by Susan Cisney that was published on Sunday, October 16th, 2022. Here are some facts and questions that should be considered, Ms. Cisney states. One, the county spends $3 million with quality correctional care. Who in the sheriff's office, who in the sheriff's department / commissioner's office ensures that QCC is meeting its contractual obligations to provide an appropriate standard of care? Two, QCC is understaffed, reportedly with only 1 or 2 licensed registered nurses per shift and 1 social worker a day. Are they able to meet even minimal health care needs or frequent emergencies? 3, QCC reportedly self-audits. Is QCC even an accredited agency with any outside accreditation program? 4, Chief Deputy Troy Hirschberger, who incidentally is running for Allen County Sheriff in the upcoming November elections, has indicated he hopes outside collaborators will help, quote, tackle the problems with the mentally ill at the new jail. Why now? When just a couple of years ago, Sheriff David Gladio and Hirschberger repeatedly refused to partner with at least 3 separate collaborating agencies to support mental health / substance use disorder issues within the jail population.
So we've seen a long history of lack of development of our criminal justice system. The courts have, in recent decades, developed new courts and diversions, and there are thousands of people being diverted from jail. But those people represent, to a large extent, people who could easily be sent back to jail for some simple parole violation. They couldn't make it to a meeting because they missed their bus, and the bus only runs every hour. So there are a lot of obstacles to living here in Fort Wayne, and we need to concentrate on making living better for all people, from the bottom up and top down. Michelle Alexander, in her seminal book, the new Jim Crow, outlines the problem we've created with mass incarceration. A mass incarceration is led us to a point where 36% of the U.S. prison population is black. And this is a complete outrage that should wake up every American, and that propels us to do extra duty to make sure we get this right, starting at the local level here in Allen County.
And once again, I'm going to quote from Professor Christopher Watson, who is a visiting assistant professor of physics at PFW. In his piece entitled Population Control from the Tuesday, October 18th, 2022 Journal-Gazette, he mentions that there are just two purposes for holding people in jail. One, to hold people found guilty of crimes requiring less than a year of incarceration, and two, to hold people accused of a crime before their trial if they cannot pay bail. And the U.S. Constitution explicitly states that all citizens of our country have the right to a fair and speedy trial, and that they're presumed innocent before being proven guilty. So Dr. Watson says that on September 27th, there were about 60 people held before trial and charged with only probation violations. And as Howard has pointed out, these people could be housed in a separate facility, some kind of halfway house, and be monitored by electronic sensors. Their coming and going could be also monitored. They could hold down jobs and be productive members of the community rather than being sitting in some kind of caged cell. There were only 20 people charged with the drug violent crimes held on September 27th. But these crimes were not of a violent nature. Charges such as possession of or dealing cocaine, marijuana, or meth, about half had been in jail longer than 42 days. And I would respectfully stipulate that that's not a reasonably swift period of time before being tried for one's alleged crimes. I've got another article here. Actually, it's a letter to the editor from just a few days ago, Wednesday, October 19th. And this person also read Christopher Watson's October 4th op-ed and cites some amazing statistics here. It says on September 27th, there were 730 inmates housed in the jail. Excuse me. Of that 730, 160 were housed there from other agencies, from which the jail receives $58 a day, or about $3.4 million a year. As Howard pointed out earlier, this extra revenue, as if it's some kind of profit-making venture. And that represented, that was $3.4 million out of the $15 million of the jail's total budget for a year. So Jeff Lickey, who wrote this letter, says that if you take out the 160 inmates housed there from other agencies, there would be 570 housed in the jail, which would be below the overcrowded conditions and comply with Judge Damon Lichty's requirements. So Mr. Lickey comes right out and says, I blame this on our current sheriff and administration. Maybe it's time not to have a Republican sheriff in Allen County, which, by the way, has been the case since 1938, some almost 80 years. Which has been the case for almost 100 years. This sheriff has put the county in the position of having to spend $300 million, that's Mr. Gladio, for a new jail caused by his poor management of the current jail. The article ends with a final paragraph. Maybe it's time for a new focus from a different candidate. Kevin Hunter, a Democrat, would bring new ideas.
So pressure by leading jail critics have pressed the sheriff to give out some more information about what's going on at the Allen County Jail. And so a report of data was put online for a snapshot of the makeup of 732 inmates in the Allen County Jail on September 27th, 2022. And analysis of that shows that a significant number of these people are low offenders and would qualify for alternatives to jail. So the overcrowding is essentially a forced situation by the criminal justice system that they're using to request a great big jail that would only serve the predatory and cruel and racist outlines that have cursed our society for all the way back since slavery.
So a new Allen County jail would probably necessitate a bond issue. The Allen County Commissioners, contrary to what Nelson Peters said about that their only responsibility is building new jail, also have many responsibilities regarding the offenders, such as they appoint the public defenders. They, like I pointed out with the QCC contract, they handle medical care. And I believe that the county council, now I'm going to talk about the county council, they have an effect on it because that body of local government, county government, approves inmate nutrition and exercise or funds for those necessities. There are other matters that the county commissioners affect, which is they make appointments to, I think, the community corrections. They work with the drug court, work release, and other programs. So there's been little, if any, coordination and cooperation between these different segments of the county government over the years, and that's brought us to this current debacle.
So in another area and another land, 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago, there was a prison called the Bastille in France. And the people rose up and brought that prison down to make a fundamental change in society. And today, we need to bring down the big jail proposal, just like they brought down the Bastille, but in a nonviolent manner. We can bring down this big jail proposal and rechannel resources to people in need.
Now I'd like to read to you excerpts from a letter from Jorge Fernandez to the editors of the Journal-Gazette. Jorge is a candidate for county commissioner. In this election, he's a Democratic Party candidate, and he writes that the Allen County Commissioners have until after the election to zero in on a new location for a jail, but they failed to be transparent on the matters of the jail. He also writes that the disparities, such as Howard was referring to, have been a part of America's terrible history of systemic racism. It seems obvious this disparity can't be separated from our larger history, and this is succinctly described by Ta-Nehisi Coates as, quote, 250 years of slavery, 90 years of Jim Crow, and now we've got this new system of incarceration often for relatively minor offenses. 60 years of separate but equal is what Jorge says. 35 years of racist housing policy. Until we reckon with our compounding moral debts, America will never be whole.
So two-thirds of inmates are people of color at all levels of our system of incarceration. mass incarceration. We have the highest rate of incarceration in the world. This is a shame on our society, and we have to make a change, starting with the Allen County big jail proposal.
This program, I and Audrey Davis, who is not present today, who's another one of our panelists, we hope to interview Kevin Hunter, the Democratic candidate for sheriff in the election on November 8th, on our next show. And we'll ask him to outline his ideas. I believe he wants to set up a comprehensive review of the entire situation, focusing on these different agencies and what they might be able to do with the available funds. And I do not hesitate to mention that there's several $1 million of federal funds available for improved county government, I'll call it, from the Relief Act that Congress passed earlier in the Biden administration that could be used to improve this situation dramatically. So this is not the last time we'll be talking about this issue on progressive political perspectives.
You can go online to find more information from Help Not Handcuffs. Put Help Not Handcuffs in your search engine, and you can go to their website. You can also go to Facebook, Help Not Handcuffs Fort Wayne. Will get you additional information.
And this program, Progressive Political Perspectives, is available on YouTube. Just type in to your browser, Progressive Political Perspectives.
And for more good reading, Michelle Alexander's seminal book, The New Jim Crow, is available at the Allen County Public Library.
Thank you all for watching our show today. We look forward to communicating with you in the future. And please vote in the election, by the way.